said, we're going to get right into it. We go map number 1, LAG versus Minnesota Floppr, as they both make their push over to P1. Bodies will start flying momentarily.
Yeah, absolutely. The first one is going to be a absolute bloodbath off the get-go. Try and get control, and as well as they're starting to look at P2 down to Hot Dog Stand, which off the bat will be in favor of LAG, as they are white, Minnesota all in purple.
All in purple at that. LAG have complete control of this point on the map, but it is important to note that it looks to be Minnesota Rocker that has P2 rotations and the retake at that.
Yeah, they're going to have control of that point quite nicely. They're going to really solidify themselves down over P2, but doing so, they are actually going to start to lose points, and LAG going to move in.
Yeah, they're going to move in right now. Scraps are going to go primarily over to the side of Floppr, but 5 seconds will be unclaimed. That could be the deciding factor in this match. Nevertheless, Minnesota has some time to deal with 34-18 on the board, as LAG with a successful rotation to P2 looking to hold in sync.
Yeah, it's caught them into a little trap. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort out the audio. A little distracted, but nonetheless, they are going to try and push onto that. In control of Minnesota, holding this, locked all the way down, but it finally some feed going white. MWIII going to start it all off, but it will be an successful push on the side of LAG.
Yeah, it's going to be 1v1 or 1v2. Swiffy is going to be taken out in the process. Scraps now favoring the side of Minnesota for the second time so far. And Minnesota is able to win Scraps. They leave with 5 seconds to kill. That's 10 seconds of Scrap that they left unclaimed. Now, despite Silent getting Assassin off rotation, he's going to be traded out in the process. So LAG looking to make a break and get themselves in the leading so far to continue this match.
Yeah, and now moving over to P3. This is a really hard point to kind of contest with. You've got to kind of break in around this L-shaped corner, and if you hold down one side, yes, you can push on, you can contest nicely, but it's really awkward to play with and very annoying to try and fight. And at the moment, I believe it's actually Minnesota, which is no, it isn't. Sorry, it is going to be LAG, going to have that point, and they are locking this down so far. Minnesota unable to find a way onto point.
No, they don't really seem to find a point, and just as we say that, LAG seems to get a rhythm going now onto P3, but just as I say that, finally a break is going to go through, but that's not really going to matter because spawns are ultimately going to favor LAG, so a near perfect hold for LAG puts them in the lead a little under 20 seconds. Now moving over to P4, that white van is crucial for coverage if you're able to get it. It's going to be Minnesota onto the point, dominating into the feed, all purple, as Swiffy, he himself looking to make a statement and a successful break in the process.
Yeah, it's a great hold on the side of Minnesota. MWIII really locking it down. Of course, they do need to be careful of the white van. It is destructible, but MWIII, being the Pokemon that he is, pushing in hard, and Sheezy saying, nope, MWIII, you may be the most powerful Pokemon in the universe, but not here on this game. This is Call of Duty, different style. And it seems to be almost a change of power, but I do believe it's right back into the favor of LAG.
Now it's Traveler who's going to get these Scraps for the first time off rotations. LAG favors Scraps. So now moving over to the final point of the rotation, right under bridge here. It's going to be dominated primarily by Minnesota as they go in. Big kills are to be won by Swiffy, and he does just that. There's 2 kills to his name already onto the point. Time is ticking. LAG's lead is starting to larger as Minnesota Rocker finally gets some kills to get in. Swiffy's the guy you need to kill in order to get crucial control back of the point.
Yeah, they need to get that point critically. This is a great point to have control, because all you have to do is just go south to P1 and you're good and golden to get a massive amount of points. But at the moment, nicely contested. MWIII doing a great job to fend them off. but he's going to have one more there, and it's not going to be Traveler. He will not travel any further, and it's going to be in control once again in favor of Minnesota. And Minnesota, well, they've just been taken straight off point, and it's back to LAG. It keeps flying either side, scores all tied up.
As we go back to P1, it's almost exactly like how we started. LAG leading with just over 6 at this point in time. It doesn't get any more evenly matched than this, ladies and gentlemen, as MWIII sitting by top Eskies here, making a play, but he's not able to get the kill and finish it off into the process. It's going to be a game of cat and mouse. Trades will go through ultimately, but LAG is going to persist in holding that time.
Yeah, you've got to get control of P1. You want to kind of get the rotational control. And at the moment, you can see that Minnesota, they're sacrificing this point, and they've done exactly the right thing. They're coming from the right side and from the south. The spawns haven't flipped just yet, but I can tell you for sure, Cheesy is getting himself prepped and ready for the spawns. Still not fully flipped just yet. Too many of LAG denying it, and finally the flip has worked, and now Minnesota are going to say thank you very much, P2, and that hot dog is going to be very nice for us.
It's a big gunfight to win for MWIII, a headshot out of that. So now LAG have to worry about Minnesota has to worry about what might be creeping behind them, and that just might be MWIII. Jax, MWIII on a standoff, all while LAG is being completely bombarded from the back. An ultimate retake is done. LAG with a successful pushback and retake on what was originally looking to be a great setup for Minnesota. Trades will go through, but it doesn't matter. LAG has made a fantastic break onto P2.
Yeah, a brilliant break, and also a lot of time to spare as well, and they're locking this site down. I've always said when it comes to when we commentate on Rio, if you can defend the back quite nicely, you're good, you're golden. But have a look at Assassin from the rear, doing exactly what his name is, pushes LAG slightly off for a brief second, but unfortunately no reinforcements to help them out. Back over to P3 though, and Silent, well, that's going to be a hard break to deal with, and I'm not surprised he's backing away.
Well, they've done it for P2. There should be no reason why they can't do it for P3. All white is going to swarm the point as trades are not going to go through. We see more and more white in the feed. That's a 4 flip. And just like that, LAG show up, show off, and say, well, you're on the point. Get yourself off of it because LAG is here and we're not to play.
Yeah, take a piece of wood, snap it across your leg, because that's exactly what LAG has just done. The backs are broken, and it's going to be a very hard push in, because they've locked themselves inside the point. They've all got the rival 9s. They're not going to bother with any long distance. My mistake, 1 MCW, but that is positioned in a long distance scenario. So they've locked this down fantastically, and you can see there was nothing that lag can do. LAG had nothing to come back. Sorry, Minnesota had nothing to come back with.
Yeah, and now as we move over to the P3 here, Minnesota's not down. It might be down, but they're not out. So it was a pretty close game back and forth up to this point. Now it's up to Minnesota to see if they can do what exactly their opponents had just done for the past 2 rotations. But LAG is on fire. Time is ticking down, 27 seconds on the point. They can win on the point. But Pew Pew and Cheesy in the process looking to stay alive in map number 1. Silent finally killed off point. A bloodbath will ensue, and finally Minnesota will get this last 20 seconds of scrap.
Yeah, but they need to start rotating. They can't be giving away easy points over to the bridge. They've got to get under it. They've got to go fast, because that's all in favor of LAG right now. And that is going to be a problem, and especially trying to get in. It's opened up. Well, it's going to open up in 2 seconds. And yes, Minnesota have the points. But look who's there. Silent able to pick off 1. Has he got 2? No. It's going to be a fight back. Point open, and LAG somehow have been able to keep themselves alive for a little bit longer, and dreams are starting to come alive.
Well, dreams are going to be coming alive at that, but a sea of purple is going to meet a sea of white, and ultimately it's going to favor the side of purple. all purple in the feed now. You gotta wonder whether or not this will be enough. They can get the full hold here and just get under 200 seconds. But with LAG needing only 9 to win, this is a great start to begin with. It looks like they'll be taking home map number 1.
Yeah, it's going to be taken away unless Sheezy can do something out of a miracle. He can't, and it will be LAG taking map 1 in the Rec League.
A great start for, I was actually a little bit of a slower start for LAG. Minnesota. Minnesota Floppr had double the points going into P2, but that's normal. See the boys just start to adjust. It's been horribly wrong. So for that reason, for the sake of luck, for the Minnesota and LAG fans, my friends, will keep my mouth shut and not make a prediction. But enough with the jibber-jabbering, enough with the yapping. Here we go, map number 2. It's going to be starting off with the offensive for Minnesota. LAG, you're on defense. 4 lives to give here on High Rise.
Yeah, and a lot of lives to really watch on as well. You don't want to give them away too easily. And immediately off the get-go, it's just utility, just trying to find where people are. Swifty will fall first, and that's not a great start if you're LAG. You have a map in your favor. And now you're down 1 life. Gets traded out again. Still down to MWIII. Can the Pokemon find its master? But this is MWIII. He has no master.
Yeah, his information's going to be given away as Assassin, just going to sort of lay low for a minute. Well, never mind. I guess the information wasn't given away because Assassin was completely taken off by surprise. There's MWIII almost getting the 2-piece. He's got 2 kills to his name so far. He gets this final. It'll be a third, almost claiming an ace. 27 seconds left. Easy. Sit back and relax, but even he can't do that. So MWIII clutching up the round 3-0. This guy is an absolute menace.
We saw it in the other game on Hardpoint. MWIII does frag, and that was convincing. Great map knowledge. Rotation was lovely. Took the high ground to get that better advantage. I was scared a little bit when he stood near the propane, because a good nade would do a lot of damage and possibly kill him. But no use of utility to do that. But MWIII cracked right now.
I mean, you know, I got to give it credit where it's due to MWIII, but I mean, Minnesota. I wonder what they were thinking throughout that round. Shots were given as the bomb planner sort of solidified himself on the A bomb site, but even with those shots being given, they still had no idea where he was. So, as we said before the game started, a little mistake and turned into a very big consequence.
And a big consequence indeed. No one has fallen just yet, so again, a little slower start. I say that. Silent has just fallen. So, again, LAG going down off the get-go. Make that 2. Is there hope for Minnesota this time round? They are defending quite nicely. Bomb dropped as well. And it's also going to be in control of Minnesota. So they knew exactly where it was. Played it exactly how they needed to.
Yeah, I mean, to start off that round, Minnesota kind of came in hot and pushed like crazy. Assassin, that was crucial control that he got from Barrels. That opening pick to really establish themselves and solidify themselves as the controllers of the map. So with that being said, LAG, the last 2 alive, had little to nowhere to go as all of purple were facing them. They're ADSing on them in every which way. So there goes a lovely executed round from the side of Minnesota. Not much you could do if you're LAG.
There really is not much you can do. You just have to kind of sit there and let it go. However, it's going to be flipped back round. Minnesota got the bomb this time round. And again, slow pace, but look at MWIII creeping all the way up. Has he got the advantage here? Is he going to get a nice, easy pick? He moves a little fast. There's 1. Has he found 2? There's 2. MWIII. Brilliant work to travel all the way around. And it's Traveler's going to help with the assistance. All down to Pew Pew, right, Mew. Oh, this is disastrous for Minnesota.
And just like that, MWIII basically, in essence, took the same route as Minnesota did last round, except instead of going through those mid-stairs, he went through B Street in the process and went completely undetected. So, 1-2-3 round went to Minnesota. LAG, the very next round, said, okay, hold my beer, we can do the same thing. 1-2-3 round, now 1-2 for LAG.
Oh, this has just got a little bit more interesting. Is the prediction still in place? We'll guess we're going to have to find out. We can see the entirety of Minnesota really defending that B site, allowing a bit more room for LAG to move around, but Silent is going to silence his opponent and say, no, we're going to have control, and we want A. Actually, bomb's been left behind. I don't know if that was on purpose.
Sometimes it might be. I mean, you're playing on a map like High Rise, you get a kill in enemy territory, and the bomb is dropped. The team is going to say it, and say it loudly. Bomb is on me, bomb is on me. So that might have been strategic positioning, because that way when when anyone dies, there won't be a bomb dropped. It's going to confuse the other side in the process. But smokes are going to go through. Obviously, Jax is going to know. Waiting on the other side is Silent. There goes his second opening kill into the round, and his teammates able to do the rest. LAG got some momentum going in this search as well.
Yeah, and it was brilliant positioning. They allowed Minnesota to really question the position where they were. They pushed into their angles. They turned it into their full control. And I do love how they played it off. I really do see the strategy that's coming out. And essentially, LAG turned an attacking round into a defensive round by not using that bomb. So we said that it was left there for a reason, and that's clearly shown why they left it there. Because why attack when you can defend and frag?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question to ask. And what we're seeing now is, again, LAG sort of pushing straight up towards that A-bomb site, spreading themselves out across the map. Well, they're going to be made to pay for it. 3-2 in the live. Swifty, that's a huge kill for you to miss out on now. Could have been a 3v1 situation, but MWIII and Swifty are able to get out with their lives. So, in theory, Minnesota should be able to get this bomb down, pinpoint where the other boys in white are, and win the round. But with MWIII still alive, we've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, we definitely have seen crazier things, but MWIII will fall down, and now it's death to Swifty. Swifty? No. No, not at this point. Minnesota, again, were able to apply that pressure, bring themselves in a greater position, and you know, they had the angles, really. Like, look at this. There's nothing more you can do when someone's got a nice wall to protect them.
That's going to be now a 2KD for Sheezy in the process. You'll be your standout guy you're putting your bets on to pull Minnesota out of this deficit of 2-3. Now, going into round number 6, we got two teams here. One has that momentum coming in from hardpoint, and a win from a round that they shouldn't have in the first place. You got Minnesota trying to keep themselves alive in this series and in the map in general. So Jax is going to get that read, hopefully, onto MWIII, get some intel in the process. LAG seemingly a lot more conservative going into this round.
Oh, Swifty's in danger. He's got bomb as well, and it's in a very awkward place. That's right on the edge. So they've got to go onto the edge to somehow reclaim it, and Minnesota are going to be liking this. 4v2, all in their favor. Sheezy is going to pick up the last person, and Minnesota brings it tied 3-3.
With the last alive there, Minnesota sort of just pancaked them. Great pinch that was done in the process. Got me a little worried there for a second. I thought he was going to get a pinch there and kill his own teammate in the process, but there you go. There's another round for the side of Minnesota. Tie game, 3-3. Now LAG starting to see that momentum slow down, but Minnesota, they're going to start kicking into four-wheel drive as their momentum starts going, and hopefully will get themselves up to 3 more rounds.
Well, if this goes round 11, then my prediction is completely off. Once again, Minnesota really trying to spread themselves out this time, get more map control, more coverage, and they're not risking the bomb on the edge like LAG were doing. MWIII holding a standardized defensive line. Pew Pew, a bit of information, and First Blood is in favor of Minnesota once again, but that will be traded out. Unfortunately, Jax will find another. MWIII, their top fragger, gone.
Minnesota is, yep, 3v1 now. Minnesota's pushed up all the way into LAG spawn. Now Swifty has an idea where the last guy alive will be, but information is going to be given. Not able to get the kill. Trades are going to go through in the process. Now Minnesota finally taking the lead for the first time on this map. It could have been Hyper. Maybe they're just a little bit of a better team in the respawn modes, or it could just be that they've woken up, smelled the coffee, and have realized it's now or never for the rest of this season.
I want to know what coffee you're drinking if they're waking up like this, because that must be some strong-ass stuff. I'm not going to lie, because Minnesota's really woken up. Like, not saying that they were doing bad off the get-go, but there just seems to be something different, like a feeling, the way they're moving around, the positioning just feels more controlled, more that they have this under wraps. So it must be some very good coffee, because Pew Pew is going to get 2, and that is some distance as well. And it almost seems a complete wipe, and its Traveler's got to go back to the future to see what's happening. But unfortunately, I think the DeLorean's not working.
There's Pew Pew with a 2-piece. I think he got the 3rd at the end there, and Jack's obviously up. That's 3 kills for him, and Jack's obviously just deepening the dagger by getting a kill over by B Street in the process. So now game point over to the side of Minnesota. See, this is why I don't make predictions, Hyper. This is exactly why I don't. You get teams that you might think might not perform up to par with standards, and they do exactly that. So game point for the side of Minnesota. LAG haven't won a single round in 4.
That's kind of concerning from LAG. If you're sitting in that position, I'd be a little worried. I'd be sitting down, having a chat with you guys, saying, hey guys, bro, they're match point. We were winning this. What's happening? And I think that's exactly what they're going to try and do. Silent, trying to get a little bit more aggressive on the rotation, will pick off 1 after using his entire clip. And that puts him out of the game as well. And it's going to be a 3v2. Again, Minnesota have the advantage, and they've also got control of this A site.
Well, they may have control all they want, but the cruise missile is going to come in. Whether or not it hits anybody, the information will be given in the process. A really unfortunate fate from the side of LAG, because they're both going to be spread around from both sides of the map. Schwiffy able to finally make himself claw himself away with his life, but his poor teammate on the other side gonna get traded out in the or killed in the process. No trades at that. 2v1 situation. Have an idea of where Schwiffy is. Bomb needs to get planted in the process. So Schwiffy has a little bit of an advantage if he peeks, and peeks quick. He pops steady, make himself unaware, the team unaware of where they are. There's 1 kill to start things off. Could it be that he can live up to the same expectations that MWIII did in the very first round of the match? And he does it.
That dead silence. Well, that dead silence did it all. He just was able to get the kill off, to get a refresh. Of course, if you kill somebody when dead silence is on, boom, goes back to the start and you get a reactivation. So yes, they knew he was up on heli, but he was able to rotate around heli, go back down, get towards propane, and then get the angle from there. So fantastic work. And now my prediction is completely off whack, even if it went to the other team. But round 11 is still on the tables here. LAG demonstrating that they have strategy. It's just hasn't come out in the last 4 rounds. Is it back?
Well, last round, that's a pretty darn good start. 5-4. Minnesota still only have to win 1 round. 4 lives for both teams to play with. Opening is made for MWIII to get the ball rolling. Minnesota within 10 seconds, already down by 2 lives in the life deficit. Make it 3. 1v4 situation, and it's not enough. LAG, they're going to win their 2nd map in a row. It's match point. Hyper. We are at round 11.
Ooh. Ooh, baby, we're at round 11. But this is the LAG we saw at the start, though. This was the dominance we saw where they were just completely wiping Minnesota off the map. The fast-paced method works, and they need to stick to it. They're attacking again. Let's go hard. Let's go fast. Let's catch Minnesota with their pants down, and that's exactly what they need to do. Minnesota, they need to keep this slow pace, widen their stance, like they've done before, and there's a possibility they can win. Honestly, this could go either way. It's 50-50, and that nade to start things off is going to be great on the side of LAG.
Could it have been that LAG had just putting their feet up and were relaxing, decided to wake up? We don't know. We'll see as it boils down to a 2v3 situation. Minnesota now have an opportunity to put themselves at the front and shine. The 1v3 situation. Before I could even finish the sentence, Sheezy, he might be the man to do it. 6 and 7. 1v3. He'll go across map and peek. Information will be given. LAG to enjoy a nice map 2 win.
Well, it's not over just yet. Yes, he has a trophy. That's his only ability he has with him. But he's got both of his utilities. He's got his flash and he's got his nade. Problem is, he doesn't know where the last two is. So he can't just run in and go for the defuse. He's got to somehow sniff out the last two players. He is going to walk right into it. And if he went in for the plant right now, I think he might have gotten away with it. But he's still searching for information. His loud footsteps will give his position away. He finds one and he will fall. LAG will take round map number 2.
And Minnesota showed some resilience there. They got 4 in a row, but eventually, I guess it was the case. LAG kind of took their feet off their desk and was like, hold on a minute. This is starting to slip away from us. Came back hard. There is 3 rounds.
This is a map where spawn kills and rotations are gonna be crazy. This is a type of map where you're able to slip behind them and start killing in their spawn, and that's dangerous. Once you start doing that, you've almost controlled the round. And if you can do that on defense, fantastic. Then you've just held yourself off. But if you can do that on attack, well, you could have one person doing that and your other members of the team just claiming the point. And already the attack on A, it's nearly there, nearly a tick, but it's not going to be enough just yet.
Well, it's a consequence of quite literally what you were talking about. I mean, LAG sort of wrapped around Minnesota, shot them all in the back, and completely erased them off of A in the process. LAG was looking to put themselves at a comfortable lead to start things off into this map, capturing A being the hardest to cap in all of the high-rise controls. But again, like you said, LAG wrapped around, got the kill in the process, and now we're back to square one.
Yeah, but this square one's looking a little bit better. 2 people on A, and we'll get the first tick onto A, but Wharton doing so, draw the rotation from Silent, who's going to get 2 off the back, and MWIII also picking up 2. A full wipe on the side of LAG, and LAG defending this very well, and a massive live advantage. And we can start to see Minnesota, they're struggling a little bit because MWIII starting the spawn trap.
Almost 10 lives. Minnesota is down by, LAG is up by. So change of strategy is going to go through. Jax, he'll be the only one to get onto B and immediately get swooshed right off as if it was nothing. So Minnesota now scrambling to get themselves onto time, scrambling to find kills as clock starts to tick down slower and slower. Swiffy, he doesn't even care. He'll just sit right onto the point, give away his location, and get the kill in the process. Now we'll start to see the spawn traps go through with 10 seconds left. It looks like round 1 going to LAG.
Yeah, and quite convincingly, there wasn't much push that Minnesota was able to do. Once they did go on point, they were very quickly swifted off. And then as soon as they were swifted off on that second attempt of trying, what did LAG do? They pushed themselves even further forward, made sure they had those advantageous positions, and just spawn trapped them. Exactly what MWIII is doing here.
Spawn traps were insane. What was even crazier was MWIII's opening picks. 2-piece on the dot, completely wiping off Minnesota. Early round of what seemed to be an exciting, maybe promising even, cap on A was quickly turned into the complete opposite as LAG reestablished themselves as the dominant force, not only in the series, but on a map like High Rise. So going into round number 2, picks will go through, this time favoring Minnesota as they get the first blood.
Yeah, Sheezy really going sheesh on that first kill. That was some range. I'm not going to lie. I'm quite impressed at that. I wish my hands had accuracy like it. But nonetheless, Minnesota doing a good job, but LAG starting to get a little bit control on B. I spoke way too soon because the assassin just swooped in.
Assassin swooped in and did exactly what his job was. Get a kill and get the hell out of there as quick as he possibly could. Time will be erased off of B, but not before a sliver of A. Slowly but surely, from the work of MWIII and Swifty, will get some kills, but there it goes. The backs are turned, consequences will go through, but on to B is Traveler and his opponent and his teammate there, Silent, looking to get themselves a first tick. They do it.
They actually did a nice split strategy there. Gonna keep the attention all on A, and they actually were able to get that first tick on B. So that's worked quite nicely, but at what cost? LAG, they're down by 8 lives. So they really need to be careful here and not give away too much of their health because they're really struggling to get on point. However, Minnesota isn't putting themselves into a strong defensive position. LAG are able to get on point. They're able to actually come here and fight. And at the moment, Feed's turning white. This is an opportunity. They're going to go for B. And again, they're splitting on A as one person is on that A site.
Yeah, so Silent and Schwiffy will immediately be raced off of A, but not before time is going to be getting on to B. They need to get some kills here, trades in the process, anything to get them off point, and just like that, a sliver will be left over for LAG to do it, and who then none other than the 10 and 5 2KD Silent to get some kills, be a little stubborn, cause headaches from the side of Minnesota as he does it.
Oh, I breathed and held my breath for a few seconds. LAG almost looked like they had it and was pushed off, and then they came back on. Oh, that was a left, right, and center type moment, but they are now going to put their full attention onto that 8 side. It's Traveler trying to push off Minnesota. Minnesota really being annoying here, not allowing any tick or progression to happen. And finally, some movement, some pavement in favor of LAG. They're going to stack 3 people onto the point. In Minnesota, they're going to file in through one place, and it's going to be third tick coming right up here, and map control. It's Traveler on the outside, but it's too late. LAG, that's round number 2.
Clean wipe onto Minnesota allows them now to be at match point, game point, match point for the entirety of the season. LAG starting to get a nice little appetizer of what it's like to be moving on from the semifinals here in the CRL. Now Minnesota, you're starting to see the face of defeat as you go into round number 3. Something needs to change, and it needs to change now.
Yeah, you need to come up with something different on a plan of attack that's going to work. Are you going to stack? Are you going to, split it? Like, you've got to think of something. Right now, it's going to be hard pressure going on to A. It's going to be majority of the team as well, with one person wrapping around. It's going to be Jax going for that B. So the split is going to be the strategy. Ooh. One person focusing B while the other goes to A. So slow ticks are going. A nearly completed, but it will be finally completed. I thought it wasn't for a second. They're going to start to stack that A side, but still, the B is ticking away as well. A brilliant split strategy, and LAG are confused. They don't really know what to do here. A nearly completed fully. Ooh. They're going to have more pressure, and it's going to be LAG focusing on that A site.
Well, they made some really good progress on both sides, but not a single tick was given just yet. Minnesota opening the round up with fury as they completely did exactly what LAG did in the last round and wiped them off, mopped them with the floor. So that'll be enough, hopefully, as a 4-stack goes through to get themselves onto B and close out the round.
Wow. Minnesota, we said they needed a different strategy. They took the split strategy with a bit of aggression, put one person over to that B, but send everyone else over to A, and it kept them distracted. They got the whole of LAG distracted over A because of the faster pace. In doing so, once they captured A, made life so much easier towards B because it's already at 1.5.
Well, Minnesota did take a risk there mid-map. We were sort of unsure of how it would pan out. They sort of spread themselves out, one at A, one at B. But as with everything, high risk certainly comes with high rewards, and that reward is a round win just to keep you alive. But Minnesota, you're not done yet. You still got to win 2 more to take home the map. And right off the bat, opening picks 3 off to the side of LAG will be a great start.
It seems to be a common theme here. Minnesota not getting the greatest starts when it comes to the game mode, and then eventually they find their rhythm. So is this kind of mentality that we're seeing and is that they're struggling with? It seems to be working as they've got this far, but at this point in time, 2 people on that B site is going to progress it just that little bit faster as progression on B will go to a second pick.
Oh. All of Minnesota was sent to the respawn lobbies, and as the cruise missile goes in, it doesn't even hit. Minnesota still got to worry about LAG continuing to cap B. They do it, and now A is their last threat of hope. They're down 19-24 in the lives. Minnesota, you've got to wipe LAG completely off of A, but Schwiffy being an absolute menace, getting some kills in the spawns up to Jack and the rest of the boys in blue. Force Another round.
It's 2 people on A though, so more pressure, and they've really got to start to get out of the spawn. Cheesy, he's gone round from the back, and that's 2. So brilliant work from Minnesota. They keep themselves alive just a little bit longer, and immediately Cheesy going for the spawn trap, picks off 1, backs away, as he knows maybe he might be overaggressing a little here.
Yeah, call-outs are going to go through. Information's going to be given. All 3 from the side of LAG are going to be pouring through, trying to get their foot onto the point. Now Minnesota has evened the playing field, 14-14. That's 4 off from the side of LAG. They're scrambling around with 1:34 seconds left. I think they need a reality check here, Hyper. They still have plenty of time to cap the point, but it doesn't seem to matter. They want to end this round and end it quickly. But here's Cheesy, again, looking to be the backstabbing headache on the side of Minnesota once again.
Its Traveler is doing a fantastic job on his side, really keeping people off. And he will start to continue the progression. It's going up now. It's going to be 2 people on the point. More pressure is going to be added. This looks to be done, and it will be done. No! Slightly denied! Assassin getting on point, and luckily the grenade from 2 will work right. Pew Pew will deny the push, and I thought the round was over, and I'm sure LAG thought as well, but we're still going 8-5 in lives.
This is why we use our frags, ladies and gentlemen. A nade is single-handedly what has delayed this round from ending further. That double nade onto LAG's got to be something frustrating, but what's even more frustrating is it's 7-4 in the lives. Now Minnesota completely have turned the tide into their favor now, originally being down in the deficit by over 7, now slightly up by 1, but they're silent. He's sick of the BS at this point in time, getting some kills in the process, and finally they've gotten that opening.
Cheesy's going to use the last of the cruise missile, actually going to deny it, and finally LAG's going to pull off the win, pull off the game, set, and match. Oh, that was a little too close in my eyes. I'm sure there was a moment that LAG were thinking, yes, it's done. Oh, no, we're going to lose it here.
I mean, that nade at the end there really sort of what delayed